What's up guys, Dave Lipson here, and today I'm going to take you through a sample day from our Muscle Anarchy online program. Today's our back and bi day, so we're going to focus on a lot of variations of different types of pulling and a bunch of different types of curls. So we're going to start with some vertical pulling. The first complex is going to be 10 tempo pull-ups immediately into straight arm press downs. So for the pull-up, what you're going to do is I'd like you to get nice and wide with your hands. You're going to pull yourself up and do a 3-second negative down for 10 reps. As soon as you're done with 10, you can grab bands, you can string them through a PVC. I like to use the gymnastic rings, and you're gonna go into 30 straight arm press downs. Looks like this. So with your back nice and flat, I want you to hinge over, and you're gonna go from head height all the way down to your hip pockets. Come on, daddy. So vertical pulling is great for developing the upper lats, for getting athletes really wide. Anything that's overhead pulling down, the straight arm press down, you should be feeling that right all the way up into the armpit, and you should walk up in these sets feeling like this. Yeah, bro, invisible lats are real. Come on now, Lipson. So you really want to focus on not just bending at the elbow, but driving the elbow back and down so that you're using your lat, not just your bicep, to do the work of the pull-up. Love these straight arm press downs. So first they work the lat in a way that most people don't typically get to work it. You can do it for really high reps. And having something like this where the arms are independent of each other are a really great way for fixing imbalances, because you'll immediately find that maybe one lat is a little stronger or has more capacity than the other, as opposed to, say, doing it with the PVC where both arms are contributing to the work. So hey, some typical mistakes people make in pull-ups can sometimes sacrifice their ability to engage the muscles we're after, which are the lats. So when you're doing the pull-up, especially as you finish the pull, try to arch your back and get a real big chest. This position is less lat and more bicep. This position is more lat and less bicep. So you gotta get wide, you gotta get those lats working. Not bad for a 240-pound dude. Let me tell you guys something about these tempos. So when you're doing a tempo, like say our 3-second negative, it should be consistent throughout the whole rep. So I don't want you guys to start by going down slow and then drop at the bottom. And typically athletes will do that because that's where it's the hardest to hold the tempo. But try to keep it smooth on the way down, all the way down at the same pace. So we started with some vertical pulls to get the upper part of the lats to get real wide. Now we're gonna work some low rows, and this works the middle of the back, but is really important for back thickness. So the superset we're gonna do is a cable low row into a hip extension into a row. When we do this superset, we're gonna hit 15 here, and then we're gonna hit 20 over there, almost to failure. So if you're lucky enough to have a cable machine, or in this case, I've got a belt squat, you can do low rows on that. But if you don't, what you can do is you can either hook a barbell up or a PVC pipe up to bands at belly button height, and you can just sit on the ground and perform your low rows like that. Not only that, you can go regular, wide, underhand, everything has some good utility. I recommend you do what you don't normally do. So when you do the low row, a couple things to think about. First, you want to keep your back nice and straight. You can hinge a little bit at the hip, but the most important thing again is that when you drive back, you're not just bending at the elbow, but you're driving the elbows back with a big chest. So now we're gonna do GHD hip extensions into dumbbell rows. When you set the GHD up, make sure that you can have your hip free of the pad so you can still hinge at the hip. I really like this with dumbbells, not only because the arms are independent, but because it can allow a little bit more range of motion than if you were handcuffed with a barbell. So this complex, again, like really good for developing back thickness, working the middle, even the lower back, so that you're working all different parts of the muscle. Another really cool part of Muscle Anarchy is that a lot of the working sets will be different. So some sets will be higher rep, some sets will be tempo, some sets will be half reps into full reps. It keeps it interesting, and it works the muscle in a lot of different ways, as opposed to just straight sets, doing the same weight, the same load, or the same tempo every time. So this last one, what we're gonna do is a half rep into a full rep for 15 reps. So the last two exercises, we're gonna hit some smaller muscle groups. We're gonna do some isolation movements for the biceps. This variation I'm gonna show you, it's called the spider curl. And it's my favorite variation for the bicep for two reasons. Number one, it isolates the bicep, so you're really getting some concentrated work and eliminating a lot of other muscle groups that can sometimes contribute to a curl. And secondly, it works the muscle in a way that people very rarely use it, especially in CrossFit, with a supinated grip, getting the inner head of the bicep. More so than you might do with pull-ups or deadlifts, and so on and so forth. So a simple setup, you're gonna use an incline bench. If you don't have an incline bench, you can take a regular bench and you can prop it up on plates. You're gonna go facing down, grab the dumbbells, and what's gonna happen is as you curl, you're gonna turn your palms up, all the way up to your eyes. Nice and smooth the whole time. Keep your elbows in and focus on turning the hands out and getting a strong contraction of the biceps at the top of each movement. We'll even throw things like pauses at the top of each movement to feel the bicep working. So we use all different types of rep schemes. Today we're gonna do 4 sets of 12, but we'll do things like 20 into sets of 12 with tempos, into pauses, into half reps, into full reps. So any variation is fine, but we like to keep it changing. They isolate the bicep so much that you can really feel just that muscle working. Your shoulders are not fatigued. And as you get more tired, what you find is that the full range of motion just gets harder and harder to achieve. That's why having a spotter to help you in the last portion can be really valuable just to force the reps. So last thing we're gonna do is gonna be 300 banded hammer curls. So what we want you to do when you're doing these is long sets to failure with minimal rest to compound the metabolic stress in the muscle. When you're setting up for this, grab a band that you can get 20 or 30 reps with at a time. You're gonna step on the band. If you want more tension, you can go wider and take some of the slack out of the band. If you want less tension, you can go narrower. What's important is that when you grab the band, I want you to grab it with your thumb on top of the band. And as you come up, the range of motion is gonna be from the hip all the way up, breaking 90 degrees with the arms. So a good pace for this should be just some good, strong, healthy movement. Get the full range of motion, but move as fast as you can at your own discretion while achieving that full range of motion. Now you find, as you get tired, you might start throwing a little hip into it. That's totally fine. Listen to your muscles. Right when they start to burn, you're starting to hit the correct zone. When you feel like you can't get any more, do 5 more, because they're always in you. And that's where the growth happens. That's where the metabolic stress really starts to compound. A little bit of rest. You don't need to fully recover, but just enough until you feel like you're ready to give it a go again. Whew. So I'm clipping out 30, 50 at a time, but it goes by pretty fast. You should be able to get the whole thing done in about 5 minutes. So hey, learn more at thunderbro.com. Check out our online program, Muscle Anarchy, or learn the what and the why of how we do things with our patented books, Hypertrophy for Functional Fitness, and the 90-Day Get Huge program, version 2.